Between the hate seen daily in the game chat and the divide within the community that was only worsened by removing the Cloud Kingdom, I'd like to try to bring a little bit of love and joy back that I saw so abundantly back in the day. Now, I know that is a little easier said than done, as most of us just miss the old Star Stable and refuse to rest until it is brought back, which is never going to happen. Not to mention, with the way this community acts today, sometimes I wonder if those memories are primarily fueled by a naive little girl completely oblivious to the hate and conflict surrounding the game. But I'd personally like to think otherwise, as if I remember only good things, then there must have been some good things. So, what exactly do I mean by wanting to bring a little bit of love and joy back to the game? Well, it's simple, really. I'd like to know what made you start playing in the first place, and what keeps you coming back. I'd like you to set a spark to that childlike wonder I know you have and share your stories. Is it maybe hope that keeps you here? If so, what is it exactly you're hoping for? Share your wishes for the game as for what you'd like to see added in the future. Because here's the thing. Everyone who's already become fed up and truly bored has left already. The rest of us here are likely still playing, perhaps even regularly. I believe that this is because you still find some joy in the game. So let's focus on that for a minute. Now, I originally started typing this out on Reddit and was reminded of these goals and hopes I had for this channel and how I had let it all fall off. As the goals so happened to be aligned, I decided to make this video instead. Plus, I figured many of you would look at everything I had to say and think to yourselves, that's a lot of words, too bad I'm not reading them, and then, well, not read it. All jokes aside, let me tell you why I love the game. I started playing back in 2011 and was a non-star rider up until 2016. I was on the game every single day taking care of my starter horse Wintersong and doing every possible daily quest and race available to me. I begged for this game as a little kid, and my parents ultimately told me no. But that wasn't good enough answer for me, as it usually isn't. I grew up on a farm and worked all the time with my dad, so I figured it was about time to bargain with him, because I had never wanted anything more. I ended up convincing them to let me work for it, and that's exactly what I did. Finally, I had enough to get Lifetime Star Rider and my own laptop in April of 2016. While I was pleading with my parents, I specifically remember making the point that I would, quote, play this game until I was 80 years old, which was shrugged off. So maybe I'm still here out of pure stubbornness and drive to prove them wrong, but it's mainly because I genuinely love this game. The story is a huge reason for this. I only play games with a story, and if it doesn't have a good one, I'm generally not interested. Games like Valorant are the exception, but it has good lore. I know many might argue that the story is hard to follow, and many of us can't even remember what is going on, but the story goes deeper than the quests. I've dug up lore on this game for years. I've started to write fan fiction for it, and of course, I have started over just to experience the in-game story again and again. I even started creating content on YouTube and streaming. Well, here we are, with the goal of finding people who genuinely appreciate the game for what it was, is, and will be, and show others the same. The second reason is my love for, well, horses, and the unique playstyle this game has to offer. It is truly one of a kind. While it is evolving and there is certainly much left to be desired, for what it is, there is not a horse game that could hope to compare. It is actually what got me into game design in the first place. And I'll admit, I am patiently waiting for the day Star Stable starts letting their designers work remotely in the United States. I have been ready with an entire presentation as to why I would be perfect candidate, and once again, just like with my parents, not take no for an answer. I mean, for goodness sake, I had even thought about moving to Sweden just to work on the game. But alas, I sit here talking to all of you instead of packing my things. Anyways. But like I said, there is much to be desired. I have waited a long time for certain things to come to the game, and I still wait. Not so patiently, especially for the Gen 4 Jorvik Warmbloods. I cannot express enough how badly I need this update. As I stated above, the story is special to me. I am one to saddle up my starter before doing any story quests. When the Gen 3 first arrived, the Jorvik Warmbloods got their revamp into the cartoony style SSO briefly headed towards. It was bittersweet for me. I was sad to see the old model go, but I was in love with my new and improved winter song standing proudly. Now, I kind of despise them, to say the least. With the new Gen 3s that really should be Gen 4s running around, my poor little starter does not fit the aesthetics and gives me a feeling of incompleteness. The retrofit was a step in the right direction, and I loved this update for it. However, still is not my beautiful Jorvik Warmblood I have been waiting for. Not to mention, it's a little bit scary, because with there being a retrofit, I kind of feel like that just pushes out the arrival of the Gen 4 Jorvik Warmbloods by a long shot. And I initially did understand that they probably wouldn't get here until next year, and as in high demand as the retrofit was, maybe they're just buying themselves time until the new year. But, quite frankly, I have a sneaky suspicion that it might be a little bit longer of a wait than that, which is okay. Taking things slow, especially in game design, is perfectly valid, and I definitely understand. But I still need my Jorvik Warmblood. I'm just saying. I'm gonna need him to get his update. The second thing that I have been waiting for is stable customization, but different. Understanding the limitations of game design, depending on what platforms they are hosted on, I expected this to be no more than options. Star Stable Online is not a mobile game, and I refuse to accept this information and effectively shun anyone who started on mobile. I am mostly kidding. As I am a PC user, like big PC, not a laptop, it is convenient to be able to grab my iPad and go to a coffee shop to play my cute little horsey game. However, a laptop can achieve the same convenience. Now, I know that this was not added for the convenience, but it really should have just stayed on PC. My point in saying this, SSE is now limited on what they can do with their game. It's hard enough as it is to make Apple and Android apps get along, and it's even more difficult to take a game of this magnitude, as slight as it might be, and stuff it inside the limitations of a phone. Unless SSE are magicians and have been hiding this from us this whole time, I regret to inform you our hopes and dreams of what our home stables could be is out of the question. With that out of the way, my realistic hopes for this is a few different styles of stable options. Maybe white stable doors with black hardware and dark floors and beams, or just the exact opposite. It would be nice to see at least 5 options that can mostly appeal to any player. With this, while festivals take place, having a few decoration options to choose from similar to paddock props would be a nice touch. Maybe I want rainbows to hang from my horse's stalls during Pride Month with the Ally flag hung on the wall, or maybe I'd like just bows on my horse's stalls with the board reading Happy Pride hanging on the wall. If any of that makes sense, I'd also like the back door of the stable to lead out to a pasture where I'm able to keep some horses. Think of the My Horses app. I imagine it's similar to that. This is also where I'd imagine to be able to breed horses, although I'm not particularly keen on breeding mechanics. To keep this balance, I expect this to be a last upgrade you're able to unlock from John outside of our stable with the hammer. I'd also like a loft for a room that would be my bedroom that I can also decorate. And I am plant mom and I love my plants, so I would kind of hope for them to be plants everywhere as one of the decoration options. But I imagine this to be similar to Lisa's room at Starshine Ranch. Same kind of like feel and warmth and style of it. And I do know we kind of got our own room in this new starter area in Moreland, but I don't want anyone else coming into my room, personally. And lastly, yeah, I'm gonna need the North Link to open up. That blank space on the map just makes it feel incomplete. I know the Coulters are also up there somewhere, and I need to explore that area ASAP. I expect at least 2 more home stable locations, with the area opening up, even though I'll never leave Valedale. I don't have much to add to this except for the fact that the game needs to feel more complete. What I mean by this is NPCs, irrelevant or not, need to be updated. Areas need to feel seamless, although I'm not so sure how I'll feel about Dino Valley getting revamped. For the sake of moving forward and keeping on track with what they are doing, it needs it. I'm also very tired of missing translation and forgotten quests. I personally love the weekly updates. Disappointing such as this or not, it keeps the excitement in the game and gives me a reason to come back. I wish SSO and the community as a whole understood that it is okay to take things slow and progress with quality, not quantity. This is huge. Quality, not quantity. I could do without a new horse for a year, okay? I'm good off of them ponies, alright? There are so many for me to go around and buy. And in fact, I need a minute to get caught up because every time a new horse comes out, I'm like, ooh, I want that one. And then I completely forget about the Lipizaners that I have been wanting to get for months. I still haven't gotten one because I know they've slowed down the horses being released, but it's still too fast. They could take more time to focus on other aspects of the game. We don't always want new horses, and if you do, that's fine. There is something that everyone needs to understand when it comes to game design and user experience in general. You cannot appease everybody. You just can't do it. What I'm saying of what I would like for the stable customizations and this home stable update we've all been waiting for, many of you are probably like, absolutely not. I want to be able to place my furniture. That is not entirely feasible. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm sure they could get it done, but it's just not the best option. You just can't appease everybody. So, if they were to take away adding new horses to the game for the entire year, like I would like, everyone's gonna be absolutely irate with this information. And maybe not everybody. Some of you are probably want the same thing. But you have to understand that you cannot please everybody within this industry. It is literally impossible. Impossible. Someone is gonna have something to say. Someone is gonna disagree. And that's just the way that it is, whether it's unfortunate or not. Now, this last one is gonna be a bit of a hot take. I don't think that Star Stable should necessarily slow down in the sense of releasing content for events. I know that's very contradictory to what I literally just said, but it doesn't really relate to that. It more relates to what I've seen a lot of people say of being exhausted from previous events and just wanting a break. From my perspective, I think that there should be an abundance of content for any player to play the game. And I say this because I recently got my mother into the game. The same parent who wouldn't let me get this years ago and who have watched me play it for years finally decided that she wanted to play the game too. The Rainbow Festival was her first event, and I was so excited to show it to her and show her all the things that she could do, and was met with nothing. Which, from a game design perspective, that's okay. From a user perspective, that's not entirely okay. I do believe that Star Stable should be able and have the capacity to push out new and unique content for each of the 4 major events that they have going on during the year. That shouldn't be difficult. I do think that their team is small and limited in that sense, and they kind of bite off a little more than they can chew with these events. Especially since they're working so hard to revamp the entire game, and that's all happening behind the scenes and we can't see it, that they don't really have a lot of time and the resources to put into new and exciting content every single time there's a new event. But, as one Reddit user pointed out, this shouldn't be a problem. They need to expand their team to make this possible. while that is a whole other issue entirely, my point is every single event should be full of things to do. For any player who feels like getting on and doing it. Some of y'all have some major fear of missing out, and you need to understand that it's okay to not get on and not do the event. I have been playing for years, and my main account is only level 23 while Max is currently level 26. I'm not level 26, and that's because I haven't done every single event. I'm okay with missing a thing or two. I did not do the Equestrian Festival this year. I regret that decision mildly because I was working on it and I simply just got distracted and lost motivation. But last year, the Western event going on last year, I had zero interest in. I was not about to get on and get chased by wolves. This year, I was like, yeah, I want to do that this year. So I did it this year. You don't have to get on and do the events. You don't have to get on and partake. If you're exhausted from the previous event, take a break. It's a video game, guys. It's a game. It's okay to not get on if you're exhausted from all the things that they've been doing. And being exhausted from all the things that they have been doing is a good thing. It's such a good thing. It means that they're pushing out content, things for us to do. I'm personally not going to get into the whole controversy surrounding the removal of the Cloud Kingdom and everything going on within the game chat right now, because that is not what I wanted this video to be about. I didn't really want to highlight any of the negativity. I only wanted to highlight the good things and what the game could be and how honestly genuinely hard I believe that the Star Stable Entertainment team is working to make this game, better for us. They're not ignoring you. In fact, they're listening quite well. And maybe not perfectly, but nothing's perfect. And within user experience, you just can't make everybody happy. And that's just the fact of the matter. With all of that said and out of the way, I would now like to invite you to share why you started playing, what keeps you here, and what you would like to see come to the game in the future. And I don't mean, more content or more of this. I don't necessarily mean that. Like, the examples that I gave, I want the Gen 4 Year of Warmblood. I want stable customization in a specific way. I want a pasture that I can access for my horses. Maybe you want the breeding mechanics. Maybe you want a new festival, or just don't be negative with it. Try to avoid the negativity, because it's not helping. Generally speaking, it is not helping. With everything that I have been seeing going on Reddit lately and in the comment section on Star Stable's Instagram, there's just nothing but negativity and hostility and animosity, and there's just no reason for it, especially within a community like this one. Guys, it's a pretty cute little horsey game. Okay, we get on our ponies and we run around and collect fireflies. This is not a place for hostile behavior. So, but yes, do please share. Try to pull away from all of the things that we have been talking about and the negativity that we have been fueling, and just try to come back to zero as a whole and focus on what's good. Focus on what we love about the game and why we still play it. At least for a moment. At least for just a second. Take a break while you type out why you're here. Just take a breather. But with that said, I do hope that you all genuinely enjoyed this video. Hopefully I made sense and wasn't all over the place. But yes, I will see you in the next one, I suppose.